Welcome everyone. HR compliance and audit is the topic for the discussion in this particular presentation. We will talk about what are the compliance issues, what are the checkboxes that needs to be ticked as far as audits are concerned. So agenda is definition of HR audits. Definitely yes, we will be talking around it. We will talk about the significance of the audit thereby, the need, the scope of audit, the utilizations of audit, the usage of audit, the objectives of HR audit, benefits thereabout, the special areas that needs to be looked into it, threats of HRM, and probably the different approaches to HR audit. We'll talk about the periodicity of the audit, audit report, HR audit, and so on and so forth. These are the things that we will be stuffing in this particular presentation. It seems a lot of things, and probably we'll dedicate one slide for each of them to give you a better clarity about what exactly is meant by HR compliance and HR audit. So let us understand the definition before we proceed. HR audit is a process to review implementation of your institution. When I say institution, it is your organization. When I say organization, it is your company. Remember, any corporate policies and procedures ensure compliance with employment law, eliminates liabilities, implement best practices, thereby educate your managers as often as possible. Now that is what HR audit is all about. It Alternatively, I can also say HR audit refers to the examination, evaluation of policies, practice, and procedures to detect effectiveness and efficiency of HRM. Probably verify if mission, objective, policies, procedures, programs are chased and expected results are achieved. HR audit also suggests future improvement based on the past activity measurement. So essentially, what are we talking about? We are talking about policies, we are talking about procedures, we are talking about compliance with employees, employment laws, and so on and so forth. If the audit can try to manage it, believe me, if the organization is sticking to the policies, procedures, compliance is thereby it is doing wonderful. But probably if we can also predict it, extrapolate what needs to be done as a compliance issue, as an HR issue, if we can predict it and probably thereby ensure where the organization mission, vision, objectives will be met or not. So that is what HR audit is all about it. HR compliance is all about it. I need to tell you the significance also, the advantages. Absolutely. This why is it so significant? Why does it matters altogether? Essentially, for an organizational success, it will tell me whether the organization is the desired path. It provides a required feedback, managing risk, labor cost, as the case might be, increasing opportunities for competitive advantages of the HRM. HR audit can avoid government intervention. Believe me or not, if audit has been done on a regular basis and if it is done by a recognized party altogether, it does not require government interventions as far as compliance is concerned. Human resource planning protects employee interest. Management feels that employee participation in activity is much required. As the case might be, we are determined to do our audit out there. That is what the HR audit is all about here. Now, let us talk about the HR requirements for the audit. So, audit is an HR policies and practices. No legal obligation definitely doesn't exist. Nobody is going to comply, or it is a must thing that needs to be done in modern organization. But no matter what, some organization believes in HR audit. Why? Because this increases size of the organization and the personnel that comes around it. It keeps the checks and balances to any anomalies that might eventually happen. Organization is getting bigger, and the corporate bodies workings are becoming complex. So it is better to have an audit every now and then. Change philosophy of the management towards HR, and definitely it increases the strength and influences of the unions thereby. And that is why we should always have an HR audit. Did I say the scope of audit is to be done about it? Yes, it has the various scope that comes around it. Let us understand that ethical requirements in audit, what needs to be done? Are we doing it in the right fashion? The quality controls. We are talking about the relationship with other departments, disciplines, functional areas. What are the meaning as far as the HR philosophy is concerned with the employees, with the environment, the objectives thereof, the scope of the organization and the working, the aspects, human resource aspect, the working environment, the advantages, the limitations, the type of audit, and so on and so forth. That is what we are looking forward to. Let us understand the usage of HR audit. The basic purpose of HR audit is to find what? We need to find how various units are functioning, how they met policies and guidelines pre-agreed upon, to assist the rest of the organization locating gaps between objectives and result per se. How do we go across with it? Formulate plan for corrections? Definitely yes. Assess them? Definitely yes. How do we go across with it? You have to utilize this HR audit then and thereby. Let us clearly state the end objectives in mind. Effectiveness is to review the HR department effectiveness and the activities that it determined or it pursues. How effective are the activities? Implementation to locate the gaps, lapses, failings in applying policies, procedures, practices, and HR directives. We need to understand where are we going around it. Also to see the areas of wrongs, non-implementation that are getting hindered. Let us go forward with the rectification process to take corrective steps to rectify mistake. Remember, we are looking to remove any anomaly, any mishappening that has been occurring within the system. So we need to rectify this. HR audit is a wonderful way to point out if something is going wrong. Evaluation is all about HR staff, policies, employees, and so on and so forth. To evaluate extent to which line manager applies policy programs and directives initiated by the top management, the HR department will let you know. Modify to review the HR system, modify to meet the challenges in comparison with other organizations. Questioning is to seek answers of what, why, when, while implementing policies, practices, and directives in managing human resources. This is what we are looking forward to. Let me tell you, bring you to the benefits of human resource audit. There are so many advantages, and I'm able to only list 8 of them. Identify the contribution. Now this is going to highlight what HR as a department is doing the right thing or not. Improve HR departmental professional image. Yes, definitely yes, it will make everybody take a note of what HR has been doing around it. Foster greater responsibilities professional amongst HR staff. Classify HR department responsibilities and duties. Stimulates uniformity of personal policies, practices, identify critical personal problem, ensure timely legal compliance requirements, and obviously, yes, reduce HR costs thereby. That is what we are looking forward to. Let us understand the demerits. If there are benefits, there are pitfalls too of HR audit. Right? Let's say it's one of the most time-consuming activities of human resource department. It may not be as objective or as important or probably even designed in the very first place. Why? Because it's time consuming, it might interfere on the regular working patterns of the organization, and it has certain impact which might not be very clear. At times, because of the HR audit, many of the employees get demotivated for no reasons, for no clear indications comes around it. So it is probably it acts like a rudderless boat at certain point of time. Special areas of HR audit: audit of HR functions, audit of managerial compliance, audit of HR climate, employee turnover, we are looking into it, absenteeism, safety records, attitude. What is it that we are looking? Audit of corporate strategies, audit of human resource research. Now we have these areas that needs to be taken care of. So we generally wind up with HR functions only, that is of managerial compliance audit and the climate employee turnover audit. But we can always have absenteeism. What are the root cause of it? Safety record. What are the root cause of it? Safety record of late has become a lot important, and governments across the world is stressing upon having a zero tolerance towards any kind of unwarranted accidents. Attitude surveys, audit of corporate strategies, probably of the human research too. So let us understand the HR functions, audit of the HR functions. If I say they are the main one is all about your forecasting of manpower, scheduling, staffing. We are talking about development, organizing, motivation, commitment, administrations, research and innovations. Involves any and every activities of HR function from human resource planning to industrial relations. That is what comes under audit as far as HR functions will be talking about it. Now let me give you some light on the auditor's role. The HR evaluation must justify the existence of a department. Basically, it needs to justify why such an expenses has to be meted out. Department has no reason to function if it fails to contribute to the company's bottom line. Probably it's better to prune expenses to make the departmental viable. For each activities in HR audit, auditors must determine the objectivity of the audit, identify who is responsible for its performance, review the performances then and there, develop action plans to correct deviation between result, between goals, and follow up action plan as the case might be. This is exactly the role of the auditors that goes around it. Have an objectivity in the process, making person responsible for certain acts, reviewing their performance, developing an action plan, and basically making a follow up to the action plan thereof. Did I say I will tell you about the 5 approaches to HR audit? Yes, definitely a very simple approaches. One is a comparative approach. What used to happen, what happened last fiscal, what did happen this fiscal, what should happen next fiscal. Comparative approach, absolutely. Outside authority approach. What is happening in my company? What is happening in another benchmark company? Absolutely an outside authority approach. Statistical approach. Statistical approach will give you the correlation, the regression, the chi-square method, what you are going around it, what is your confidence level of working, and so on and so forth. What is the Six Sigma level of production? What is the total quality management that needs to be taken for? Compliance approach. Compliance approach is very simple with the legal laws of the land, what has been mandated and what are you practicing. Are you in compliance with the approach? And that's simple. And the last one would be MBO approach, or management by objective, which we set it at the very beginning of the scale. We decide what we need to work around it, and we at the time of the audit, are we on the right path or not with the desired objective that we have set. Auditors may choose any of those 5 approaches for the purpose of evaluation. Again, the 5 approaches are comparative approach, outside authority approach, statistical approach, compliance approach, and MBA approach as the case might be. Let me tell it to you one by one. And before we wind up this presentation, comparative approach, auditors identify another company as a model. I've already said so, result of the organizations compared to that of those model or company. When we have an outside authority approach, is often auditors set the standard by an outside consultant as a benchmark for comparison of their own result that needs to be taken care of. We can have a compliance approach. Auditor review past action to determine if their activities comply with the legal requirements, the company policies, the company procedures. A final approach is for the specialist and operating manager to set objectives in the areas of responsibility. The last but not the least would be your management by objective approach, is creating specific, I again reiterate, specific goals against the performance can be measured. Then the auditor team researches the actual performance and compares with the objective thereby. So we have an audit report and we have a periodicity of the audit report. So audit report is a program that ends with the preparation of a report with a suggestion, with a conclusion. Report may be clean or qualified. It is qualified if HR performance contains gap for which remedies have already been suggested. Report is clean when the performance is fairly satisfactory naturally, and any audit will be done annually. Absolutely, it's clean. People would love to have a clean audit report. Then there is something called periodicity of the report. Though it is preferred to be conduct HR audit annually, but probably it is advisable to conduct once every 3 years or probably once every 5 years, keeping in the fact that the realization of organization goals may not be identified in within a single year as such. So that is what we subscribe to. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. I am sure you must have understood what are the HR compliance and audit is concerned in this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.